Hey, good evening and welcome to Conversation with Grandma Polly. We've been out for the summer and this is the first of our season. This is our first show for the season and we want to welcome you all back. We want to welcome newcomers. We welcome you all. Um, I want to leave you with something because I'm gonna put you on pause for a minute, but I want you to think about this. Implementing community outreach in any neighborhood can help deter crime and bullying, especially among our young people. It's particular that in particular, there are many positive effects of extracurricular activities and after school programs on students and their behavior. There is surveys and stuff out there that has proved that this can make a difference in our community. And these are some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. But I want you to put a pin right there and we'll be right back.
Here come the big rig kids, y'all. Are you ready? Let's go. Here come the big rig kids. Roll with the big rig kids. Let's sapphire the truck, take you to such amazing places with the big rig kids. Those helpful big rig kids. See how they give and grow and get to know amazing things. Learn with the big rig kids, and you'll see how it is to have adventure days and hang and play with all your friends. Because the big rig kids know what it is to live a most exciting and inviting life is positive.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And before we introduce our guest this evening, I want to shout out my sponsors, KJ Multimedia and Simone Enterprise and Entertainment and Family Foundation. Y'all give some hearts for my supporters. And now we're going to introduce our guest.
Yes, we are going to introduce the one, the only, who has done so many amazing things. She has been in. Is my. She has done so many things. Excuse me for that, guys. We had a little glitch. You know, glitches always happen, so uh, it is what it is. But we're going to carry on with the show like we always do. But our guest tonight is very special. She's a native Philadelphian who began sowing her roots in Georgia 5 years ago. Felicia is a graduate and active alumnus of the first historically black college, Cheney University in Pennsylvania, where she acquired her bachelor's degree in recreation and leisure management. And also, Felicia holds a master's degree in public administration and nonprofit leadership. A former college professor, director of recreation, childcare, and cyber school owner, among other titles, Felicia has also managed her husband's career as a children's book author and her daughter's career as an actress and a wonderful musician. As the president and CEO of Simone Enterprises, an entertainment company, and the Simone Family Foundation, she continues to build partnerships with individuals, organizations to support aspiring artists and provide youth and parent education and programming through social and financial investment in education, art exposure, mental health awareness, including anti bullying and suicide prevention, and community and business development. Now, for more information, you can check out the Simone website at www.seamonement.com to learn more about mentorships and partnerships through the free BizNet virtual professionals platform and the Next Young Professionals program. But without further ado, everybody, please give a warm applause for Miss Felicia Seamon. Y'all give it up for her. Come on.
Yes, 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 yes. I
Thank you for
am So happy to have you here, Miss Felicia Simone.
You know
It
I'm
is
excited
such a
to be with you.
pleasure.
I'm excited. And thank you for that amazing introduction, Kenny. I'll send you the tip later.
You got it.
Yes, awesome job, Kenny. Awesome job. Oh, where do we start? This we've been absent, but the summer has been a summer to remember.
Yeah, it's been
And
busy.
even though we were absent from your stream, there was so many things that we worked on behind scenes. And we have a lot of things that's coming up, but I'm not going to tell too much of it. We're going to get Miss Felicia in here because I want you guys to know. Miss Felicia, should I tell them? Should I
I
just go
guess you
ahead
can
and tell them?
tell them. It's okay. Go ahead and tell them.
Okay, guys, you guys know I've been on this road for about 6, 7 years now, and the struggle has been real. Anything that you're doing is difficult to do by yourself.
Yeah.
My brother joined me last year when we started with the conversation with Grandma Polly. But God has blessed me with a manager who knows what she's doing. And we have some great things coming forward. And Miss Felicia, I'm going to bring you in here because this is just awesome. I'm overly excited.
I'm excited too. We are officially announcing that Grandma Polly, better known as Renee Brown of the Big Rig Kids, is our newest client, and I am so excited to be a part. I've met her long ago, and we just reconnected and stayed connected. And now that she's moved here to Georgia with her wonderful husband and family, we decided that we were going to make it official because I am a true believer in the Big Rig Kids and conversations with Grandma Polly and everything that it stands for. So I am so excited to be a part. And we have so many exciting things to bring to you. We've been talking almost every day, and we have plans and announcements and upcoming events. And we're going to talk about all of that in addition to everything else that we do in terms of helping parents and aspiring artists. So just stay tuned because we have a lot going on, and follow what we're doing and become a part, become a follower and a supporter. And I can guarantee you that you're going to get something out of what we have to bring. So I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate you. And thanks again, Kenny, as well.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you guys so much. Whoever made the statement that two black women cannot work together, they need to meet us
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's possible. We have to get rid of that mindset that we can't work together because we can. But Miss Felicia, ooh, where do we start? We have the book auction coming up, the book exchange. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit about that.
We have some really amazing things coming up. One of the events and projects that we're coordinating with the Big Rig Kids and Simone Family Foundation is a book auction and exchange. So we're obviously that Miss Renee has the book series, which is the Big Rig Kids. If you have not checked out the book series, take a look and stay tuned for more to come. New books are coming, merchandise is coming, and everything. But this project that we're embarking on is a book auction and exchange. Because if you were not aware, Georgia is literally near the bottom, ranks near the bottom for literacy for children. And that's something that we want to absolutely be a part of eliminating, eradicating if we can. We want to make sure that our children have access to books, whether they're free or if we're exchanging them. And we've had so many very generous folks donate books, and you'll learn from the website. You'll see it soon. It's coming up. We're still engaging everything and getting everything in order. But we have thousands of books that have been donated, children's books, religious books, Black books about, great African Americans in history and prior. We have so many things that are going to be made available, and you will also see the different locations where we will have the donation boxes. So if you're interested in donating books or having one of the donation boxes at your establishment, we're talking about churches, masjids, libraries, schools, childcare centers, you name it, bookstores. We have a few folks we're working with. We would be delighted to partner with you. And then our plan is to, by next year, early February, to have pop up book fairs in all of those locations with our partners. So we are so very, very excited. And I want to thank some of our donors who've already donated. Deetra with Chanel's Closet donated some books, and a few other people. I don't blame it on my mind, but
Mhm.
we're very, very grateful to those who have already started sponsoring and who are joining in with us to eradicate illiteracy, not just in Georgia, but in everywhere is our plan. So I'm really, really excited about that. And stay tuned. There's more to come. You'll see it very soon.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There's a whole lot more to come. And I'm just so excited. I mean, there are so many things on the calendar. We have the mobile book fair that's coming up. We're looking into having my book tour.
Yeah.
Miss Felicia is spearheading all of that, you know. And if y'all would like for us to visit your town or your community, reach out to us because we're putting the calendar together now. This mobile book fair, Miss Felicia, little short snippet. What's that about?
Well, besides the tour, the Big Rig Kids book tour, which, as Mrs. Renee mentioned, will be all over. We're going to, of course, our hometowns, but we're going to places where folks have been very receptive about the wonderful stories that involve, morals and values and encouragement that come out of the Big Rig Kids, that came out of Renee Brown. So we're excited about that. In terms of the mobile book fairs, look for us. You've seen some of the things that we do. Look for us to pop around into different locations with some of our friends and family who are authors and so forth. And we've even discussed, I'll give a little tidbit, we even discussed having a Black authors ball. Okay, so
Mm.
we're very excited about that because we like to get dressed up and really nice, and of course it'll be a campaign again to eradicate literacy, and you'll hear more. So that's just a little bit. We said we weren't going to talk too much because we have some real important stuff to also talk about with everybody going back to school and just getting back acclimated to what's going on. But those are some of the things that we have in the works and we're very excited about.
Yes, yes, yes. I am ecstatic. I am excited, and all the things that we're doing is leading into this next conversation we're getting ready to have. Because we have children, and these children are brilliant, they're bright, they're genius, and they're all those things in their very own way.
Yes.
And sometimes depends on the community that they're living in, and even sometimes in families.
Mhm.
Their abilities and their creativity and all of these things are not accepted in a way that these kids can develop and grow with it. So, Ms.
Mhm.
Felicia, from your experience, what are some of the ways that we can help our children with discovering their talents?
Oh wow. There's so many ways. I've been fortunate enough, as Kenny expressed. to have served probably half of my life learning about children and learning how to accommodate and facilitate programs for children, which eventually brought us to determining how important it is to make sure that parents also have education and tools to be able to support their children or just family members in general. But in terms of what your question, discovering their talent, a lot, in my opinion and my experience, is really opening up your eyes and paying attention to your children and how they interact. And of course, exposing them to, I would argue, expose them to things that you never were exposed to. That was a huge goal. And a mentor told me before, he said, you got to get out of your comfort zone or you'll always remain there and won't be able to flourish. So, giving young people exposure, especially children of color, our children, making sure that they have exposure and access to non-traditional activities. There's some things that we just do well, but those other things that we may not have access to, those are really where we find our children's talent. I read something the other day that said research concludes that lost Einsteins are in America, and they are children who had the ability to become inventors, but because of where they're from, they will never reach that potential. So that lets you know already. The more you expose your child to, the more that you expose yourself to, even as an adult, obviously, that gives you the ability to find what you're looking for in that child and to help that child hone those skills or those talents or that intellect that they may not otherwise have been able to tap into. So a lot of it is really about paying attention, and people will tell you, we just exposed our daughter to everything. Here, let's do this, let's try this, let's try this. And then eventually there were some things that stuck. There were some things that didn't. But those things that stuck, we invested and sacrificed and made a commitment to make sure that she would be able to access those things. And that's exactly what we want to do now with our foundation and through wonderful partnerships like the Big Rig Kids. We want to make that available for everyone because we all deserve it.
Yes, ma'am. You did. You hit the nail directly on the head. And one thing that you said that really stood out to me is sometimes we as people, we put limits on ourselves according to culture. And we should not live in a box just being familiar with what we know that represents our culture. We have to step out of the box. When I was growing up, there was a golf course in my hometown. And all I ever saw on the golf course was white people. But now it's not, I'm a 60s baby. So now we're living during a different time. Who knows? You get your child involved in golf, they might just like it.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at what Serena and Venus' dad did, he got them interested in something that was not the norm for our culture. And they became huge. But you never know unless our children are exposed to these different things, except for what's right there that we're familiar with as parents growing up, because times have changed. And I like that you said that now. From now, when we say that, one thing I will tell y'all, and this is some bits and pieces about myself too. When Miss Felicia and I decided to connect and that she's going to be my manager and all this good stuff, this wasn't just someone I pulled out of the air. We have to be careful with that too, because anybody can slap a title on themselves and say, "This is what I do. This is what I could do for you. This is how we can make this happen." No, you got to do a little bit of research. I've known Miss Felicia for about 5 years. We studied each other.
Yeah,
You just can't jump in with any and everybody. And I'm quite, Miss Felicia, just in my 5 years, I've made some what they call boo boos and a few mistakes. And with you managing your husband and your daughter business, tell us some of the things that you've experienced and some of the mistakes that have been made and can be made.
absolutely. And like you said, the mistakes, we call them mistakes, but they are stepping stones to the success. And as you mentioned, we all made mistakes, still make them. If you meet somebody who's telling you that they're not making any mistakes, or if something sounds too picture perfect, more than likely it is too perfect, because it's impossible for something to never go wrong. And as you mentioned, Mrs. Renee, just managing both my husband and my daughter. My daughter definitely was a lot more difficult. Learning about the music industry and all the little idiosyncrasies in it. Some of our guests who are on there are people who can absolutely relate, because they manage their young people, and we share a lot of these things, and we share them in our business. We talk about this, we share information, we ask each other questions, and we let folks know when we see things that appear to be scam like, because you have to be very careful there as well. But there were so many things, and just to name a few, we were in Italy for 6 months while my daughter was still a minor, shooting an HBO television show. And I have to tell you, I had to be laser focused. I had to learn the Screen Actors Guild, that's the union for the acting industry, the film industry. I had to learn their handbook, which was this thick, literally overnight. By the time we found out that she got the role, and I had to put headphones on and watch a monitor for hours upon hours a day, just to make sure that there was nothing that was happening that would be inappropriate. And I suggest to parents and recommend to them all the time, you have to be very careful who you're bringing, especially around your children, but even as adults, because you'll have folks who will say this and it'll sound great. And, they'll say, well, I could help you with this. And I know this many people, and let me do this. And then they'll start asking you about how much money it's going to cost. And you have no idea what folks even bring to the table. You have to be very, very careful, and you have to do your research. I tell parents all the time, and adults who are starting their businesses, if you're not willing and interested in putting in the work that's going to require you to do a lot of research, a lot of reading, and so forth and so on, talking to people on the phone, getting advice, seeking a mentor, getting some training, and all of those things, then you very well may be in the wrong business. And it may be a good idea to invest in someone who has that type of expertise, so you can avoid a lot of the mistakes that most of us make when we're beginning these types of journeys. But you and I talk about it all the time. I'm sure you have something to share when it comes to those mistakes that could have potentially been avoided.
Yes, ma'am. When you first start out and everybody see what it is, and it's like, oh, I can help you. Oh, I have someone else that I know can help you. And because you're so eager, you get all excited and it's like, oh yeah, I met this person and this, that, or whatever.
Mm-hmm,
But then you come back and you say, okay, we could do this for X amount of dollars,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
or we can make this happen for X amount of dollars. And then you have no proof of who they are, what it is that they have actually done. And here you go, you gave your money to somebody who had no intention of doing the things that they just rolled off to you.
mm-hmm,
And I wasn't in this situation, but the other thing that you and I mentioned earlier, parents with your children, regardless of what it is that your kids are getting into, I don't even care if it's sports, just your local football, basketball team, whatever. Stop turning your children over to these people. You know, when we sit down and we look at the R. Kelly's case, yeah, Kells was wrong, and I loved his music back then. But these people hand him their children. Know who you are working with. Do your research. Get down to the nitty gritty. I mean, get references. Find some people who know these people. Not just go off somebody promoting to you, because now social media is a huge thing,
Yeah.
and there are scammers out there left and right. And before you know it, you not give away everything and your child too, and still don't have anything in return. And what impressed me with Miss Felicia is because I watched how she worked with her daughter, music and movie. She was there. It wasn't, oh, my child is in this, I'm going to drop you off and they could have you. They just need to let me know when you're ready. When it comes down to that, you as a parent or another adult, whoever it is, you have to be totally involved and you have to make that commitment. Because if you don't, you might and you might not. That's
Right.
just my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Well, we already know, like you mentioned, it's a very finicky industry anyway. All of them, film, music, literary arts, all very finicky. So you're really putting yourself and your child, you're putting yourself out there when you make a decision to engage. So you have to be very, very much aware of what's going on literally at all times, and you want to try to prepare as much in advance as you possibly can. You don't want to try to figure it out when you get there. And some of us, we didn't have any choice when our daughter, we found her this role. So, we were like, wow, this is amazing. And the next thing you know, they're like, okay, well, we want to fly you here and we want to fly you here. I had to get on the phone and call some people up, and I said, I need a lawyer. I need, because as much of an intellect as I might think I am, I was not willing to take what I knew and use it for something on this scale. So you also have to know how to take a step back and let folks who know what they're doing, who have gone to school or been trained excessively in those areas, you have to let them take the helm as well. Even now, like we talked about, I'm no longer managing our daughter. I'm so excited for her. She has new Hollywood managers and, folks who will be able to take her to the next level in the industry. But I had to humbly be able to say, I think I've gotten you as far as I can get you, baby girl, because now you're on this next level. And as someone who decides to manage someone, if you're not willing to take a step back when you know that you've served your purpose, then you're really kind of looking for a cash cow as opposed to trying to raise somebody to the next level of where they have the potential to go. So that's another thing that I'm excited about. I see your potential, like I see it in so many folks, but you are a grinder, and I used to say a hustler, but that word's changed a little bit in its terminology. I used to think hustling meant working really hard to do what you need to do, but I'm finding in my experience now that some folks have changed the definition of that word to mean to try to get as much as I can get out of you for nothing. So you have to be very, very careful, and you have to learn how to listen. I try to make sure that I listen more than I speak, except when people bring me on their show and make me talk.
No, see, you are here because I'm quite sure there are plenty people watching this, who have children that they want to bring into the industry and things that they want to do. And who better to have talk to them other than you? Because I'm learning. I have learned, and it's like every day I'm constantly learning something new. And for me, I have a long ways to go when it comes down to learning the industry. And that's another part to it also. We can't go into it thinking we know it all.
Right.
Or, I am the creator. This is what I did, and this is how I want it. And yeah, this is what I want. But does my wants match up with the reality of it all? We
Right.
have to keep those things in perspective also.
Right.
So it's a balancing act there, and I'm just glad that we were brought together because you are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are amazing. And today, guys, y'all are looking at two amazing Black female who could work together.
That's right.
That's
That's
key.
right.
You have to
That's
work
right.
together. No man is an island. Now, Miss Felicia, what advice and
Hmm.
what resources would you give to these young people and parents who, had that desire to get into the industry?
Yeah. Yeah. And across the board, we say the industry or literary arts, as far as authors and publishers. We have a publishing company. We really tried to dive into the areas that we saw we were flourishing in. And then it kind of just trickled over into, okay, now I have this wealth of information. I've talked to all of these agents and directors and producers, and I have all of this. So now I want to share it with other folks. And that's really important. If you don't find someone who's willing to share the information, nobody's saying, just give away everything free of charge. It should be mutually beneficial. But in terms of resources, there are so many out there. Just in terms of being an author, Mrs. Renee, I'll use this as an example, invited me to a group, and this is a Facebook group. We know there's tons of them, but it's called Writers in the Spirit. And these are a group of writers from all genres, all backgrounds, who get together. There's no charge, but they get together and they help each other as they're going through the writing process. There are tons of groups like that. Our organization and our group, the Professionals Network, what we call the BizNet, it's a free membership where you can log on. The information will be at the bottom of your screen, but you can sign up for it and you'll have access to all of these people that we've met in our travels, that we've invited to be a part, who have an interest in sharing what they've learned. So the resources are there. If you want to be an actor, you can go on social media and there's tons of free auditions and all types of things. There's trainings that you can go to. If you want the better ones, you will have to invest in it. There's so much available for folks to do.
Yeah,
And just these type of exchanges, Mrs. Renee and I aren't constantly texting each other. We're on the phone. Okay, you have to meet people where they are. This is a conversation that I have with my former students and young people all the time. Can't expect that you're going to get everything through your Instagram or your TikTok. You may have to actually have a verbal conversation with somebody, as opposed to everything being virtual. Everything that I've learned from people who I've had conversations with or I've talked to in person. So the resources are endless: mentorships, training. There's so much available, and we share that type of information with each other in our BizNet and with our next gen members. So it's available. People can, you can reach out to me and via social media or via text. You'll see my information. Kenny will scroll it across the screen. And I'm always willing to help. But please be clear that if you only call someone when they need something, they're going to be very much reluctant to not respond to you as quickly as you would like. So remember that as well. You know, you if you want a loyal follower and supporter, then you also have to be equally as loyal. And those would be the kind of the types of advice that I would give to folks, regardless of what industry, new business, your children, managing extracurricular activities, all of those things. You have to be mindful and make sure you're treating people the way they want to be treated, not the way you're accustomed to being treated.
Yep, yep, yep. That is awesome.
Just shout out
Right.
to Writers in the Spirit because I met them after I finished my first book. And before COVID hit, we would actually meet at Wayne's house. So it
Yeah,
was just people
that's
right
awesome.
there in Charlotte. But when COVID hit, it went into a virtual thing through Zoom. And it just blessed me with people living in other states that I was able to invite them there because before we was just doing it as a house meeting, you know. So it opened up a lot and it has helped me. And I believe in connecting with people because I've learned from Miss Felicia. Miss Felicia has learned some things from me.
Yes,
And we
ma'am.
just constantly learning things from different people. And you put it all together and it could work. But I do have one question that I always ask. Like Miss Felicia said, you just don't call somebody when you want something. My question always is, how bad do you want it? Because a lot of times people will see someone else doing something and it looks easy.
Yeah, yeah,
I've been down that road many times in different aspects of life. Then I found out it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I liked. But if it's something that you want bad enough, you're going to find a way to make it happen.
yeah,
You're going to be consistent in what you're doing.
yeah,
And then it's not work. It's like a hobby. You enjoy it. You know, it's that drive that makes you get up in the morning.
yeah.
It's that drive that won't let you go to sleep at night. So my question always is, how bad do you want it? You
Because
know,
they'll
and
let.
if it's something that you really want
Mm-hmm.
and that desire is there, you're going to find ways to make it happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
Really, Kenny, you're going to stroll that information across the bottom for us, or am I missing? Excuse me, something.
Yeah, it's the website is going down.
Okay. All right. And Miss Felicia, you want to tell us a little bit more about BizNet and
absolutely.
Gen Virtual Mentorships?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, our BizNet Professionals Network, uh, we're super proud of this platform that we've created. We have more than 100 members. We literally have been building this for some time. If you know about building a platform, then you know that it is ongoing and very, very time consuming. But it's been going well. I definitely can't complain about it, especially because it's come from something that was so small as a vision to where we have folks in multiple countries, Canada, the UK, and I think we're at about 30 states right now. We have folks from all of these different locations who have the ability to share information with each other. And we have a forum where we have moderators who will post information, and you can post questions in these as well. But our moderators who are dedicated, and we're so grateful for them, They post information about different subcategories, like discovering your child's talent. There's auditions that are posted in there. We're subscribed to a bunch of different platforms, casting networks, and so forth. So we will take some of that information and repost it for our membership. And folks have been booked on there, and it's just been wonderful. And again, it's a resource, a free resource where if you have an interest in different things, whether you're an artist, all genres, visual artists, performing artists, mixed media, literary artists, authors, directors, producers, and then we have folks from the business community, which is a very huge part of the business, from all types of businesses, even retired veterans. Uh, there's just all types of folks there, and it's amazing that folks have made a conscious decision to make themselves available to folks who may require some assistance. So there are people in there who may have very little experience, and then there are folks in there who have tons of experience. And I try to make sure that we have a conversation with every one of them, so that we can grasp a concept of exactly what they know. Because I've learned what type of experience people have just in a Zoom meeting, as opposed to just assuming that what they type in the application is all that they have. Typically, it's not. So we're excited. You can join the BizNet by going to our website. Again, it's SeamonEnt.com. It's at the bottom, www.Seamon, SeamonEnt.com. And we have a group of next gen members. We call them next gen, but they are younger people, mostly under 30 ish. We actually got a few people who are a little over 30 who said, I think I need to be a part of this because they're just learning. And what we're doing is we're giving them access, and we're exposing them in areas where they may have an interest. And we're partnering them with folks who may be in the type of field or the industry that they may have an interest in. So during COVID, you could virtually reach out to a mentor, a next gen mentor, and ask them questions. What did you do? What type of classes did you take? What type of training did you go through? What kind of mistakes did you make? Because we want to make sure that we're giving our young people a leg up, especially because a lot of those activities that we didn't deem were normal in our communities, it wasn't that they weren't normal, it's that we were excluded. That's the point. So we have to make sure that we're providing access and we're exposing our young people and our new business owners, or people who just may be changing the direction that they're going, as a lot of us have done since pandemics and things like that have come to play. So we're very, very excited. Like I said, everything that we're doing together with the Big Rig Kids and KJ Multimedia Solutions and Simone Entertainment and the foundation, everything's coming together so well. And we're really excited to be able to partner with some folks who we've been meeting and we've been dialoguing with. So if you have an interest, definitely hit me up. That's all we can say. Just, give us a call and reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in popping in a Zoom so I can let you know what I have to offer or what I have an interest in. And I'll let if there's a way that we can mutually benefit from our connection.
See, told y'all we had something special for y'all. Y'all heard all of that? I'm so twirling and wheeling and everything else, because it's just so exciting. Kenny, do we have any questions out there before I move forward?
Uh, let's see what we got going on. Got a lot of people agreeing with you. We got a lot of people agreeing with you for right now. I do have a question though.
Okay.
All right. Uh, industry standards, as we all know, are whatever they are and can be whatever you want them to be. And 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 I understand Drive, but I watch you I'm gonna call you Miss Felicia because my big sister calls you that. But I watch you and I'm amazed by all the things that you do and how you're just keeping it all together and on point and just it amazes me. You truly inspire me. But I want to know and how is it that you keep it all together? I've been keeping my calendar, my book, but I haven't been staying on top of it like I should have because my other gig, there's a lot going on with that right now, and it kind of overshadows things. But what are some of the ways that you keep things going the way that you do, as I've watched you and seen you've done?
Sure. I appreciate that. And thank you. The compliment is encouraging. And I really, really appreciate that because it makes you keep going even when things aren't going as well as you would like for them to go. So I always tell people, I said, I think I'm probably very good at keeping a smile on, and because I've worked with children my entire life and my whole career, I think I have this like patent thing that now I'm just always like, hey, you can do this, and I'm the encourager in our family. Everybody has their different positions, and I'm that person that everybody comes to and says, so can you help me with this, and how can I do that? So it's kind of been ingrained in me.
Okay.
But I have to be completely honest with you, Kenny. Every now and then, it absolutely does get overwhelming. And you absolutely have to, and this is something that I've learned a lot more as I'm getting in my older years, that you have to be very, very clear about what you're going to prioritize. So I use a whiteboard, and I write down in order, in a hierarchy, the things that need to be done, and then the things that I might get to later on, if I have
Gotcha.
time to get to it. And I deadline myself out, and I try to make sure that I'm getting things done in a timely fashion. And I try to communicate. I'm probably an over communicator. That's what some people would call it.
You're
Whereas
awesome communicator.
I, I, I'm like a super communicator, right? But a lot of that comes from trying to ensure that people are very comfortable and are very aware of exactly what expectations are being set.
Hmm.
So we had an event over the summer, and we decided that it was important to meet weekly. And some people would be like, well, why do you think you would have to meet weekly? And I said, because there are things that are constantly going to come up. And even though we planned and organized, there were still things that went wrong that we were unable to control. But I'm sure that they would have been even more things going wrong than that had we not at least planned in advance, and then been prepared to make whatever adjustments that we needed to make. And it's always, as I see it, a learning experience for the next big thing that you do.
Mm.
But I had to be very, very clear this time that I was going to take a break. So I kind of backed up off the social media for about a month and a half or so. And I had to let people know who were very accustomed to being able to get to me at a moment's notice, because I'm very, very responsive, that I'm taking a little break, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get back, and we'll start the ball rolling again. So I'm learning that you have to be very aware of your own boundaries so that you don't get overwhelmed and burnt out, and so that you set proper expectations with whomever it is that you're dealing with.
I appreciate that. I really do. I have a lot going on, and sometimes I'm just like, oh my goodness. Okay, okay, okay. Even though I've got stuff written down, I'm like, okay, okay. It gets kind of, I don't know. It just all sinks together somehow, and you're just like, where am I? What universe am I in? Is this a parallel universe or something?
Kenny, is some I think what you're saying, Kenny, I think sometimes,
I take on
like
too
Miss
much
Felicia say,
sometimes. I think.
it's like Miss Felicia say, you write it down, then you have to prioritize what's first, second, third, this, what's important, what's not important. And I know it's easier said than done,
Yeah, it is.
And because I'm guilty of it at times too. But I know when we were planning for the Atlanta Summer Festival, and I know when we were planning for the National Black Theater Festival, I know those were going to be two of my biggest events this summer. So what I did was I made two lists. I made one for the Atlanta Festival and one for the National Black Theater Festival. Then
Mm-hmm.
I cross-referenced those lists to see what would be at both places that I have and can utilize. So that took some of the strain and the stress off of what was already cross-referenced and just focused on the things that would be for here and for there. And then now you have the stuff that's going to be at both. So that kind of eased it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But when Miss Felicia says, over information, I tell her I can't talk to her in the morning 45 minutes a day. Cause yeah, my head go woo, woo.
Oh boy.
And we have to recognize that too.
I think yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I don't want her walking away, me saying, yeah, Miss Felicia, I got it all. Yeah, Miss Felicia, it's done. Yeah, Miss Felicia. Now she done gave me all this information and I'm just sitting here saying, yeah, I should have enough sense to say, okay, Miss Felicia, that's enough right there, right? Let's get this, then we can move on.
Gotcha.
Because each person move in their own, they move to their own beat in a sense. But if I'm sitting here making her think, yeah, I got it, girl, then when it's time to get there, Miss Felicia, you got to put this fire out because it ain't what I told you it was. So we have to recognize those things too.
Yeah, we do, and I think systems. I have systems in place for a lot of things, but I tend to take on a lot of things I know. But I won't give y'all an acronym for system. Y'all ready for this?
Go ahead.
And I try to live by this. Systems. SYSTEM. Saving your
Okay.
saving yourself time, energy, and money. Get it?
That's a good one. I love that, Kenny.
I get the acronym, but my thing is if I spread myself thin, how am I saving myself time?
Exactly. That's why you got to have systems in place.
Yes.
Right.
Because
Systems.
if you start spreading yourself thin, then you don't have time. And I
No,
don't know for
some
nobody
things.
else, but I know me.
No,
You tell me I got to do too many things at one time, it becomes overwhelming. And sometimes something over here or something over there or something right there may not get done. So I did not save myself time. I did not save myself money because somebody not gonna pay me because I done dropped the ball in what I should have been doing over there because I done spread myself too thin. So I think we just have to come up with a balance, where it's comfortable.
yeah,
And then all of that too. You have to have time for yourself. That's the biggest problem I have is turning my brain off.
gotcha.
It's always going, 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 going. And sometimes it becomes overwhelming. But we have to find that
Balance.
balance in there. And see Miss Felicia, she's done it. So she's teaching me how to do this.
So with that said, Miss Felicia, I think you should start a course, a class.
Here you go. There you go. You always trying to get me to do something else. No.
She said
I'm the,
no.
no, she ain't finna do that. Because I'm her student. She my manager and I'm selfish. I ain't sharing.
You ain't sharing. All right, okay. But
But Kenny, like you mentioned though, the chorus, you and I have talked about that because I've
yeah,
mentioned the same thing to you. If you don't know, KJ Multimedia Solutions have helped us with so many things. If you go and take a look at some of our footage and things like that, I'm talking about amazing and just a very kind person, which is also very helpful. Tell these parents all the time, don't go into these situations with your nasty little attitude, because it's going to reflect on your child. And you would much rather get like emails that I still get from producers and directors and set designers who say, Jordan was just the sweetest person in the world. She's so mannerly and humble. So you have to be very careful. And I said
Mm.
that to say, Kenny is just an amazingly nice guy. It must be a family thing. But he's done such a great job. And you've taught us so much just about the systems in place and so forth, stuff that I had no interest in learning at all. Let me be
Uh,
completely honest. But the coursework, or the way to be able to get the resources is also through partnerships. We partner with folks
mm.
on grants so we can get money together to help resolve some of these problems. And then the mentorship and the training and the just reaching out. I got to call my cousin back this afternoon because he texted me about and said, I need some information about some negotiations. So, hit me up when you can. And I'm going to call him when I get off this live. A lot of it is just about partnerships and being willing to open yourself up, but also being willing to share information. I've had to say several times that I probably didn't do that correctly. So, this time I'm not sure if I'm going to do it this way. I got to do some more research. It's a little bit harder sometimes for folks to admit when they're not really clear about what they're doing. And I appreciate Mrs. Renee so much because she will tell me, okay, wait a minute, that's enough. That's enough information right there. And likewise, when she's talking and she's unloading on me, she's downloading, I'm writing it down because I know she's not going to remember half of the stuff that she told me because she has so much
She
stuff
does
in
it.
her
Yep.
head. But that's what you do as a manager. You're trying to take it all in, and then we go back and we review, and it's just a beautiful relationship, which is why I've declined a lot of folks, but I was very, very excited. And we sat down with our husbands together and did some breakfast. And we agreed that this was something that we thought could be mutually beneficial because we saw the potential in each other.
That's
And
awesome.
that's a wonderful thing. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be jealous because I have the best. But
Yeah, you got the
anywho,
best. You definitely got the best. I'm amazed at how she just makes things happen. Her miraculous ways. She gets it done, and I'm just like, wow. Okay, I can stand and learn a
yes,
few
yes,
things right there.
yes, yes, yes. But Miss Felicia, before we go into this last part of it, because we getting ready to tie it up. If there was one message you wanted to give to the people out there, what would it be?
I have a catchphrase that I've been using since college. See you. And it is exposure eliminates boundaries.
Mm,
And I really I try to live by that. When I worked with young people in Coatesville and Philadelphia and different places, Darby, uh, I recognized very early on that there were spaces where we were not, and it was my interest to make sure that we were able to get our folks in those spaces. So again, it's about exposure. If there are things that your children or you may have an interest in, or maybe just be curious about. I didn't have an interest in skiing. I was like, let me go see what this skiing thing is about. And everybody was like, you gonna do what? But after I did it, I enjoyed it. I experienced it, which is a whole nother thing. And I was exposed to it. So now I do all types of stuff. We go whitewater rafting and we took children whitewater rafting. And, at first they were scared to death. And then they were like, when are we going back? That
mhm.
exposure is massive across the board, from young people to our more seasoned individuals. So I would definitely say that exposure eliminates boundaries. So let's try to expose as much as we possibly can.
I love that. I love that. That is.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Miss Felicia. I just appreciate you so much, and I thank you for joining us tonight. And now I want to go into, our children. This is going to be quick. Our children are all now back in school from pre-K to college. And September, there are several things going on in September, but we also know that September is Suicide Awareness Month. And over the summer, I have read several articles where children have actually committed suicide from being bullied. So I want you parents, I want you to share this with your kids, what I'm about to tell you, because it's very important. Because every child that we save is a genius that survived. And I want you guys to know a baby is born, they're born with no knowledge of race, creed, fear, or color. But bullying comes in many different forms. That boy, that boy you tease because he likes to sing and dance, that's his God given talent. That girl, the girl you tease because her clothing seems a little too small, her parents are working minimum wage jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. That girl, that kid, that kid that you just shoved in the hallway, went to bed hungry last night because there was no food in the pantry. That kid you pick on and call Stanky lives in a shelter because they've lost their family home. That kid you tease and call a dummy studies hard by candlelights because they've lost the power to their home. That kid you tease and call overweight, he or she battles depression every day. That nerd, you know the one you snap the books from his hands, is studying to be the first member of his family to attend college. Truth be told, we all have our own battles. To bullies, I ask you these questions. Why? Why do you hate yourself so much? Self-hate leads to self-destruction. Does it make you feel better about yourself by hurting others? We are all created with purpose. We are all unique in our own ways. We were put on this earth to build each other up, not to tear each other down. Why do you have such need to control? Could it be someone hurt you and you choose to take it out on those you believe to be weaker? Is it because the people around you laugh with you when you hurt others? Perhaps you haven't mastered the task of self-control. Maybe your heart is full of jealousy. Let go of the distractions and be the best you can be. We all are full of struggles. The outcome of our struggles is determined by how well we handle our adversities. But today I offer you compassion. If you would take a moment and get to know that boy, that girl, or that kid, you might just turn out to be best friends because we all were fearfully and wonderfully made. Please share this with your children. It can make a difference. And I just want to thank you guys for joining us. And Simone Enterprise Entertainment Family Foundation, KJ Multimedia Solutions. I just appreciate you guys so much. And we're ecstatic about the great things that's about to happen. Thank you guys for joining us. See y'all next Thursday. Same time, same place. Love you guys. Happy rain. Bye bye.